Hello, good afternoon. My name is Manish Kumar. I am working as an assistant professor in a medicinal chemistry. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Manish Kumar. I am working as an assistant professor in a medicinal. I am working as assistant professor in a Suresh Gyanvyare University in a medicinal chemistry department. Today we will discuss about the pharmacovigilance. So, what is pharmacovigilance? I think you all are newcomers. This word new for all of you. I will discuss very easy way. What is pharmacovigilance? So, pharmacovigilance word is derived from two words. First is a pharmacon, another one is a vigilia. So, pharmacon is a Greek word. It means the drug. Second word is a vigilia. Vigilia means it is a Latin word. It is mean watch. When we watch the drug, what thing we watch? We watch the drug side effect, drug adverse effect, and maybe drug safety. When we watch the drug safety, it word called pharmacovigilance. But according to definition, the pharmacovigilance is a monitoring the safety of medicine and taking the action to reduce the risk and increase the benefit of the medicine. It is called pharmacovigilance. So according to definition of WHO, so pharmacovigilance is the science and activity related to detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of the adverse effect or any other medicine related problem. So you just focus on adverse effect in the pharmacovigilance. Mostly we focus on the adverse effect. What we do, we detect, we assessment, we understanding, and we prevent the adverse effect. So all definition I just assemble in one image. In pharmacovigilance, we assessment and understanding and detection and prevention of adverse effect. So this is called pharmacovigilance. So pharmacovigilance person what to do? He monitoring the adverse effect. He collecting the data of the adverse effect. Then he evaluating the data and assembling and researching the data of the adverse effect. This type of study called pharmacovigilance. So I hope you understood what is pharmacovigilance. I think you have clear about the adverse effect and side effect. You heard about the side effect of adverse effect because every drug have side effects. Some like paracetamol. Paracetamol have side effect like hepatotoxicity. When we use the high dose of paracetamol, it causes a hepatotoxicity. So these called side effect. So when we study the side effect of any drug, we monitoring the adverse effect of any drug. All these activities are come in the pharmacovigilance. So where the pharmacovigilance science is begin, where is the originate? So in our past, many disaster was happen. One of the famous disaster is the thalidomide disaster. Thalidomide is a drug. It launched in 1957. This drug used as a morning sickness. This drug used mostly pregnant women in a morning sickness to avoid the vomiting. So what happened when this drug is launched during the clinical trial of the thalidomide? No any side effect was observed related to any baby defect, but later it found that one side effect observed in any babies. Its side effect is a phocomelia. What happened in phocomelia? The limbs of the baby is develop. Is it limbs? Defected limbs is develop in baby. So more than 10,000 babies affected from phocomelia because this side effect not observed in clinical trial, but later it this drug caused the phocomelia. So about all these things, the pharmacovigilance branch is happen is it began started. So why do we need the pharmacovigilance? So before why do we need the pharmacovigilance? I will explain the uh, drug development process. When scientists found the new drug, when scientists synthesize a new drug, what happens? Scientists start the study of in vitro study. When in vitro study of the drug is successfully completed, when in vitro study successfully completed, when scientists start to study on animal as well as human subject. So when scientists start studying animal, this study called preclinical study. In the preclinical study, when data is satisfactory, all the result is satisfactory, then scientists move to study in human subject. So when we start to study on human subject, this type of study called clinical trial. The clinical trial have four phases: phase first, phase two, and phase three, and phase four. Phase four. In phase first, what we do, scientists mostly select the healthy voluntary. The number of healthy volunteers is 50 to 20 to 50. The study of phase first, mostly scientists observe the safety data. They collect the information of safety, it drug safe or not. So this phase first duration is maybe week to month. So when phase first is completed successfully, then scientists move to phase second. In phase second, the number of volunteers increase. In the phase second, maybe healthy voluntary involved, maybe patient involved, patient also involved in the phase two. In phase two, mostly scientists study safety data as well as efficacy data. So the phase two study may be completed within 1 year, 6 months. When this phase second study is completed successfully, then scientists move to phase third study. In phase third study, mostly collected data from healthy as well as patient data, from disease person. The phase 3 study, maybe number of patients selected more than 4,000, 2,000. This phase completed maybe 2 year, 5 year, 3 year. It is a long process. When phase 3 is successfully completed, all data is safe for human. Then scientists, sponsor decide to drug launch in the market. When drug launch in the market, drug come in the market, then study phase 4 study is started. In this phase, a large number of population drug use. So in the what pharmacovigilance work? Pharmacovigilance work in phase four. Phase four also called post-marketing study. In this phase, mostly pharmacovigilance person collected data from the doctor and other medical supervision, and then all data continuously they observe and they identify the new adverse effect. So this is a drug development process. So the limitation is that when the phase first, phase two, phase three, in phase one, phase two, and phase three, when we get the data is very small number of patients, because we are using the small number of patients. And we also study on the restricted population, like limited age of person, sex, and ethnicity. So in the limited data, we don't have enough data to identify the adverse effect. We have narrow indications. That's why we need the phase 4 post marketing study. Then that's why we need the pharmacovigilance, because we didn't find any adverse effect in clinical trial phase 2, phase 3. So that's why we need phase 4. So that's why we need the clinical trial. That's why we need the clinical trial phase 4. It is called pharmacovigilance. We don't have enough data in animal experiment data and clinical trial data. So aim of the pharmacovigilance person is patient care, to improve the patient care and safety in the relation to medicine and all the medical and paramedical intervention. And second aim is the public health, to improve the public health and safety in the relation to use of medicine. Third aim is the risk benefit assessment, to contribute the assessment of the benefit, harm, effectiveness, and risk of medicine. The fourth aim is communication, to promote the understanding the clinical training and effectiveness of communication to health professional and public. Uh, fifth one is aim is to promote the rational and safe use of medicines. So what pharmacovigilance include it? So first is we study the adverse drug reaction. Second one, we study the interaction with the other medicinal product and new effect of the medicinal product, lack of efficacy of the medical product, misuse and dependent and abuse. All this study included in the pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance person study all these things. So now I'm explaining the pharmacovigilance process. There are four type of process involved in the pharmacovigilance. First is a single case processing, single case processing, the ICSR. Second one is a aggregated report, and third one is a single detection. Fourth one is a risk management plan. I will explain one by one. Before the explaining the PV process, I will explain adverse event and severe adverse event. What is adverse event? The adverse event is any unwanted medical occurrence in the patient. It may be very harmful, it may be manageable, but serious adverse event is mostly a very harmful. Maybe it cause death, it cause life, it may be life threatening. Patient require hospitalization, and maybe result is very harmful, serious adverse event. So pharmacovigilance person mostly focus on the more serious adverse event, because every drug have side effect, adverse effect, but we can manage it, but we avoid the severe event, adverse event. So one by one I will explain the what is the process of the pharmacovigilance, how pharmacovigilance work, where we collect the data of the adverse effect. The first is the source of ICSR. ICSR full form is the individual case safety report. So what we do, pharmacovigilance do person do, they collect the data from the medical professional by spontaneously cases, and by also they collect the data from literature survey and post marketing surveillance cases and clinical trial case also. They all are collected data and they study in the first process, source of ICSR. And second process is the aggregated reporting. Aggregate means we aggregate all the data. So aggregated reporting is the process that reviews the cumulative safety information from the wide range of the source on the periodic basis and submit the finding to the regular worldwide. Third, then aggregated report is examine and summarize all existing safety experience with the medicinal product, and report include the benefit risk assessment of the SE and ADR, adverse reaction, and pregnancy report or overdose and lack of efficiency report. Here they collect the data in the aggregated report. They are a particular time they decide and they collect the data in aggregated report. In the risk management plan, name itself indicate risk management. We management the risk. How we management risk? I know that if I want to launch some product in the market, so I know, or because I have data, clinical data, this drug, what type of side effect this drug cause. So if I have all data, so then I will make the plan according to my previous study. According to plan, I make them risk plan. So in this risk management plan, what actually do, as per the European Medicine Agency, the aim of the risk management plan is document the risk management system, consider the necessary to identify, characterize, and minimize the important risk of the medicinal product, and the identify or characterization of the safety profile of the medicinal product, with the emphasis on important identified and important potential risk and missing the information, and also on which safety concern need to be the managed proactively. The planning of the pharmacovigilance activities to characterize and quantify the clinically relevant risk and to identify the new adverse reaction. Last one is single detection. Sometimes you observe that like some drug have some side effect, but these side effect very useful in later. Let's example like aspirin drug. Have you heard about the aspirin drug? This drug initially used as a painkiller in the market, but later study was done that aspirin also inhibit the platelet aggregation. So later this drug also used the myocardial infection. So this type of study, this type of information detected by single detection. In single detection, the information on a new or known adverse event that potentially caused by the medicine and warrant further investigation. Singles are generated from the several sources such as spontaneous report, clinical study, and scientific literature. The report information on the possible to cause the relation between the drug and event which is being unknown or incompletable documented previously. So usually more than one report required to generate the single. The depending upon the severeness of the event, the quality of information is gathered. So this is a process of the pharmacovigilance. uh, I explain all basic information about pharmacovigilance. What is pharmacovigilance? It is a branch of medical science. Mostly we study the adverse event of the drug. So, and I also explain the process of the pharmacovigilance, how they collect the data, what thing pharmacovigilance included, and what the aim of the pharmacovigilance person. I explain in this video, and I also explain the why we need the pharmacovigilance branch. So I explained the drug development process, why what is the limitation of drug development process, and why we need the phase 4 study. And I also explained the some one disaster of thalidomide disaster. Uh, Here the actual this is a disaster is a it's a begin of the pharmacovigilance. And one by one explain all these things. If you any doubt, you can ask me questions by comment and verbally. Thank you so much. Thank you.